Fellow tennis nerds, today I'm here with Sergio from the Bel Air Tennis Club. You've maybe seen my video and my interview with Sergio was well liked, and I hope you visit this club when you're in Costa del Sol. But today we're not going to talk about the club, we're going to talk about the rackets, we're going to talk about the Blade 104. And this is the racket you use, the version 8.
Exactly, yeah, very nice racket. I've played with this racket for almost 15 years already.
That's crazy, yeah. So he's been with different generations. This is version 8, so the 8th generation. He has added some weight at 3 and 9 and some in the handle to get a bit better stability, but it's actually a very good racket and it's useful for also advanced players like Sergio. You don't have to be like a intermediate or beginner to play with the 104. But today we're comparing it with the V9, so the new one. So your first impressions just looking at them, what do you feel?
Well, the color, I mean, personally, I like more the color of last year, but okay, this is another nice color. And my impression was not very different. So I think from these two rackets, there are more similarities than from this racket and the model before.
Yep.
The model before was more flexible, and with this racket, actually, you can get more power. And the swing, this racket swing is more similar to a medium swing. With the other racket is kind of a medium long.
Yeah.
Okay?
The version 6, yeah.
It's true that this racket is giving you power, but it's also giving you feeling. So from this model, the feeling has changed. The racket is a little bit more stiff, but when it comes to hitting the ball flat, it gets a lot of energy.
Yep.
So to make winners flat. So when I changed to this racket last year, I had to adapt my game in the defending balls, especially with the forehand. But now I'm super happy because I have, the racket is helping me more to make points. I don't see much difference from these two models. Probably this one doesn't need a damper, no, because it has it in the racket.
A little bit more muted, dampened feel, yeah.
Okay, that's it. I guess I have to play more with it.
Yeah, we're gonna play some more and then we summarize afterwards. But yeah, that's the first feelings, and similar for me. First feelings. We're using all the power, 1.25 at 24 and 23 kilos. So we're testing the same string setup, same customization pretty much, to really compare the sensation. So let's hit some balls.
Okay.
One of the key points of this video is that you can actually use a 104 square inch racket as an intermediate advanced player. Sergio is a very good player, obviously, and he uses this. He adds a little bit of weight to it, as we did in this test, to compare the previous generation to this generation. But overall, despite the playability being the same, they're both very good rackets and they can suit a wide target group. You might remember that Andre Agassi used something similar in head size. It was listed as 107. Maybe it was really 104, depending if it was the head rackets, which was usually measured on the outside instead of the inside of the racket face. But no matter what, used oversized racket worked well for him. I've met a lot of players, ex-pros, that have gone up in head size to try to use an easier racket for their game, get more free power, get some free height over the net and forgiveness out in the corners. And I feel that myself. I was always a fan of 95 square inch, even 90 square inch back in the days, but I felt that my tennis is better when I play with a slightly larger head size. I like a 100 square inch racket, but there's definitely nothing wrong with this frame. You can customize it because it comes in at a pretty low spec, 290 grams. It's slightly longer, so that's good to keep in mind. Not everyone is super comfortable with an extended length. For me, it would be tricky because I test rackets all the time, and to have my standard frame being an extended frame will make it tough to transition into regular length frames because of the contact point and so on. But this racket produces a pretty controlled response for an oversized racket that gives you good power, good forgiveness, and it has a nice soft feel. It's not like a harsh frame on the arm or anything like that. You do need to know how to control the power of the frame. I think for some people it's easier to use a mid-size, mid-plus racket with like 95, 98 square inches, because they feel like it's difficult to generate enough racket head speed and topspin to control the ball especially shorter balls that they need to hit into the corner or for a winner and so on. That's where most recreational players seem to struggle, and then sometimes it's easier than to control a smaller head size. You can swing a bit more freely. But if you feel like you can control the racket head and you can generate enough topspin to achieve control, then a 104 square inch racket is not a bad idea. The Blade 100 is very interesting as well. I hope to try that. Henrik, who you've seen on the channel, he's a big fan of the 100. And I was a fan of the V8 100 square inch. But the V8 and V9, they're very similar. Like Sergio talks about in the video, this is more muted in feel, a bit more dampened. He didn't feel the need for a dampener here. But overall playability, power-wise, it's pretty much the same frame. Cosmetically, a little bit of a difference, obviously. I mean, I wouldn't be so picky either, or pretty good cosmetics. I prefer V8 personally, but that's just like a personal preference. And I do like that they tried a practical application with the grommet change. And yeah, good frame, should not be overlooked, 104. It sounds like it's for veterans and beginners, but it's not. It's a racket that can be used really high up, even on Sergio's level. I think players that take the ball early and like to control the ball around the court will like this more than maybe players that play on clay courts or maybe one-handed backhand players. I feel like the style that Sergio has, where he takes the ball early, double-handed backhand, and controls it around the court, is kind of perfect for this. It's kind of like Agassi's style. Tennis, it makes sense to choose a racket based on your personal style as well. And if you need help with that, there's a consultation service on tennisnerd.net, as well as a guide to rackets and strings, so you can get a little bit of recommendations, meat on the bone on what racket might suit you, because playing style really comes into play when you're choosing a racket, where you feel comfortable, where your strengths and weaknesses are, and what kind of a feel you're looking for. But the Blade 104 is as good as the last one. There's not that much of a change, to be fair. So very good frame still, something that can be used on many different levels of players, and can be recommended also to the advanced level of player. But definitely to intermediates, they will have a good time with the 104. Same, even beginners could technically use this. You can use an even easier racket, but nothing wrong with this frame, as it is pretty light and easy to maneuver. You don't need to customize it. I think for Sergio's level it makes sense, but you don't need to customize it. Play stable enough. I tried it also without the lead tape, and it was stable enough. With the head size, obviously you need a lower weight, and the extended length helps a bit with the swing weight. So a very solid frame, came in on spec as according to Tennis Warehouse standards, and I really enjoyed hitting with it. We tried it with all the power at 24 kilos and 23 kilo crosses. I could even go lower. I think Sergio prefers generally around 22 kilos. But that was the reference tension we went for compared to his old racket. So, we have tried now both 104s. And what were you feeling like comparing them hit by hit, side by side?
Well, my feeling is that I can, if I have to play a match tomorrow, I would definitely change from this racket to this one, to the new model, without thinking about it, because the sweet spot is the same. It has the same feeling. The only difference I would say is that, I mean, probably this year, when I start to play with this, with the new model, I would take out the damper, because maybe it's not necessary. But the damper also has some weight on, no?
Yeah, exactly, a little bit, like 2 grams.
So I will put the weight on the lead.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, let's see if I take the damper out. It's just that I mean, I play with damper because I broke my wrist some time ago.
Oh, wow.
And so when I started to play, I didn't have a lot of muscles in my arms, and then I was feeling the vibrations, because of the polyester gives a lot of vibrations.
Yes.
And yeah, since then I play with damper. But with this racket, you don't need a damper.
No, it feels like also this frequency of even the sound and vibration is more muted in this one, so you don't get that same ping. And yeah, it feels like it's a little bit more dampened overall in feel, but in terms of the output of spin or power, it's all the same. It's the same mold, right?
Same racket. Yeah. Same racket, yeah, very similar. The color. Some people might like more this color. Some people like this one is more shiny, this one is less shiny, but...
I guess if you want to make a bargain, I can say that. Like like when a racket is new, the other racket that is outgoing is much cheaper to get the outgoing model. So if you want to save, you maybe get half the price. But then, if you prefer this color, it's a good choice. Also easier to change grommets if you want to do that. But overall, very much similar racket.
Yeah. Very good.
Very good. Thanks for testing with me, Sergio.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very
much. Let's do it soon again.
Okay.